Good evening, my friends. Thursday evening again, meditation. Let's see. Like this. And so, just had to put these things up. As you noticed last time, I'm still figuring out the technical stuff. Emmanuel, hey, and hey, Mats, nice to see you. Those of you who were here last time, I had some mishaps with I missed a couple of weeks. Feels good to join again. It's nice to see you again, Emmanuel. So I'm gonna turn this off. Yeah, last week it was so funny because I started the stream and I thought, strange, there's no one here. Well, it's okay. I'm sure someone's gonna join in a little while because people usually do. And then I started and then there was just no one there. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit. And then afterwards, not a single person. No one even looked at the stream. I'm like, well, maybe it's just no one out today. And then afterwards, I realized I had streamed in private. So I hadn't actually gone online. I had streamed. I was streaming for myself. Yes, I did. It was very private, Mats. Very private. It felt a bit alone, actually. But it was fun afterwards when I realized what I'd done. So this time I checked, okay, is it like that? I also, please tell me if I just got monetized on YouTube, so I think the monetization goes automatic, and I turned it off, so it shouldn't show ads in the middle. I really, really hope I was able to turn that off. If it does, please tell me, and I'll have to make sure it doesn't do that, because that would be really annoying. So it shouldn't, but just in case it does, please tell me so that I know. It's not intentional if it does. Has everyone had a good week otherwise? I back on track after VAB. Is that... Are you Swedish, Emmanuel? VAB as in vård av barn, taking care of your kids? I've been very sick this last 2 weeks. Awful cold, but now things are looking... Oh, good, Mats. Yeah, it sucks having a cold. Nice, Emmanuel. I didn't realize that. Yeah. VAB is... They call it February. They call it vabruari in Sweden. It basically means you just vab the whole time, which means you're home taking care of your kids. By the way, is the video glitching? I'm seeing some kind of... I don't know. It looks strange. I get these like test lines and stuff coming up. I'm not sure if it's actually something that's going out. Yep, there it was again. I'm not sure if that's showing to you guys. Yep, there it is again. I wonder... Let me see if it's maybe... I'm gonna see so that all connections are done. Okay, that should work. I didn't see anything. Unless it's... I tried lowering the... I think it's called the latency, so that the delay between when you guys write and I see it... Oh wait, no. Between when I talk and you see it. I wanted that to be a bit lower, so I lower that. And yeah, maybe that caused some problems. We'll see. I'm not guiding today, so it's not that big of an issue if it's a little bit late. I had to say, I wanted to show it today, but whoops, I haven't cleared the... Like I do B-roll in some of my videos, and I need to clear the licensing before I can actually show it to you guys. And I did a video this week about sitting in the lotus position because it's something... Oh, the glitching comes up again. Yeah, I'll have to look at that for next time. I did a video about sitting in the lotus position, why you don't have to do it. And if you getting to know my personality. I don't take things too seriously, and especially when people take things seriously, I don't take it serious. So there's a lot of people who take it very seriously with the lotus position. And I did a video about. I talk about, okay, so what the way most people believe it's going to be like, and then I made a trailer, and I've just been laughing my ass off the whole week. I had so much fun with it. So I made it like a movie trailer, and yeah, it's really fun. I'm curious to see if people get too triggered by it, because I play around with a bit how spiritual people can be so serious and take our practice too seriously. And they take it very seriously in regards of what our ideas and beliefs are, but actually practicing, that's something that's more difficult to take seriously. So I'm curious to see how people receive that video. I had lots of fun making it. Mindful Mama says, nice to be here again and see all of you again. I was waiting last time. Yeah, sometimes, I just want to sit by myself. Just want to sit. No, absolutely not. It really felt a bit lonely. I was kind of like, well, I mean, it's fine. People don't have to join if they don't want to. It's nice when people do. How do you like the new setup, by the way? I fixed the lighting and changed it a little bit. I'm going to look at the glitching until next time. I have to figure out what that is. I'm hoping it's the what was it called? The latency, but we'll see. Cozy. Thank you, Emmanuel. Yeah, I wanted to have a feeling of the way it feels here, kind of. I want it to be cozy, like a feeling, it's just, yeah, not some, maybe not a meditation hall, but some kind of, just like a cozy place. And I love sitting here. I don't know if I talked about it, but this is actually a working trailer that I've completely renovated. I tore out everything. There was mold in here, and I had to take out some of the floor and walls because they were mold and just rotten. So I took all of that away and then redid everything, put in wallpaper, carpet, sound isolation, new windows, a new door, and lots of work. But finally it's done, and I love being here. So for me, really sitting here it's very nice. Cozy background. Looks like a full moon. Yeah, it does, right? It's a light. Oop, time is running away. So today, no guiding, but I thought we'd do something we did. I'm not sure if I did this when anyone was here, but I wanted to start with something we call the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not even sure if it's called a meditation, but it's an exercise that's very useful to do to bring you back to your senses. If you have someone who's having a hard time emotionally and who are distressed or lost in their thoughts, this can be a really good way to grab them and bring them back to here and now. So we'll do that as an exercise before we actually start the meditation. So just get comfortable and sit down where wherever you're going to sit or lay down when we're doing the meditation, and we'll do it together to begin with. So to start, we're going to list 5 things that we can see, and I'll say it now. I see a computer, I see my microphone, I'll see a sofa, a light, and there's a cushion over there. And you say those 5 things out aloud. If you're in a place where you can't talk aloud, then obviously just don't say it, just say it to yourself. 5 things you can see. And when you said 5 things you can see, then you do 4 things that you can touch, and you actually touch them. The idea is to slow down and do this physically or, with your senses. So I can touch this blanket that's here, very nice and soft. I can touch the metal, I think it's brass. Cool. Oh, that's very nice. I want to put that on my forehead, actually. That would be nice. I can touch the hot cup that I have my tea in, and I can... different things you can overlap. Let me see. And now I forgot. Oh yeah, I can touch the sofa. 4 different things, or can it overlap? I don't know what you mean by that, Mats, but 4 different things, meaning that it could be my arm, the hair on my arm, and the nail on my finger. It doesn't really matter. So 4 things that you can touch, and actually touch them and feel them. No, it can overlap. It doesn't matter much. It can be the same as you said the first time. After that, we take 3 things we can hear. So I can hear the fan of the computer. I can hear some kind of wind blowing outside. And there's a car driving by. That's 3 things that I can hear. Name 3 things that you can hear around you. Then after you've done that, we'll go on and we'll say 2 things that you can smell. I can smell the tea, it's rooibos tea, and I can smell the rooibos tea. And I smell myself because I've been working today, so I smell a little bit of sweat. So see 2 things that you can smell. And after you've done that, we take 1 thing that you can taste. And I taste my tea that I just drank. So 1 thing that you can taste. There's always some kind of flavor in your mouth. Good. That's very simple. And now we'll start the meditation. We can discuss this more afterwards, but I just wanted to start with that. We'll sit for 20 minutes and then we'll have questions and answers. I actually forgot my telephone. I am so sorry. I'm a bit up today. Yeah, we're all about the professional quality on this channel. Always prepared, everything done very professionally. As usual, you can just keep on sitting if you want to, or you can ask questions if you have any questions. I think it was before the last sitting when I streamed for myself in private that, yes, that would have been the day. I actually was on a podcast. It was a very nice man. He's a Taoist master, and he interviews people with all kinds of different experiences. And we ended up doing it in 2 sessions. So the first one was, I think, almost 2 hours, and the second one was 2 hours. It was almost 4 hours of talk. And we went into great details about why I became a monk and how I kind of progressed in my practice, and also how I view why we practice and the whole purpose of it. So if that's something that's interesting, I'll be sure to share that on the community post when that goes live. Barely awesome. How do you know when the 20 minutes have passed? I have special powers. I sense it. And also I have a timer on my telephone. But I think the special powers are the ones that really make it special. Emmanuel writes, I like the intro with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 real things. I've had this goal or belief with my mindfulness practice to end up closer or on the same wavelength as the true world. Yes. Now I wonder if my practice is more about accepting the fact that it's impossible to be on the same wavelength as reality. It is not. It's not impossible, and I think that is a great goal. Wait, I'm just going to do... There we go. That should make my sound a little bit more even. It's actually a really good goal to have for your practice, Emmanuel, because one of the things that I feel really strongly about is that so much of spiritual practice and meditation in general is about things that we can't see or hear or feel. It's about beliefs of what we want to be different than the world is. In other words, we want there to be other realities. We want there to be energies that connect us to something bigger than ourselves. And if we have past lifetimes, it's not that you were just some boring dude living in a hut like you were a prince or a princess. It's all about making you more special. And it takes away your focus from the one thing that I'm trying to do, which is to be here and now and experiencing this. And the reality is that if you do that really well, everything becomes like heaven. Everything is sensational. Everything, not sensational, everything is enjoyable. There's an innate enjoyment to being alive and to experiencing the world around you through the senses, not through your feelings or emotions, but actually experiencing the world through your senses as you're smelling smells. That's one of the reasons we did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because the method, because it brings you back to your senses. You're aware of what you're smelling. You're aware of what you're seeing. And there is a shift that happens when you take away what I call the distortion, when you're not having a tension or a pressure towards things. For as an example, if you sit with your back towards someone who has a knife, just as an example, you know someone's standing behind you, and you don't trust them. There will be a tension, a pressure, because there's something dangerous behind you. That's very obvious. But imagine that you're sitting, what should we say? Oh no, lying in your bed, and you have your head facing the door, so you can't see who's coming in. Just that fact will make you have a bit of a tension, a bit of pressure towards not knowing what's behind you. Now that's the real problem, this tension. So if you can actually let go of that and accept the world as it is, then you will enjoy and experience the world as it is without the sense of you separating you from it. So it's not that we're trying to do something magical or anything. It's really all about accepting and being here and feeling things. And there's many ways we can do this. So I think, Emmanuel, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, and that's really what my practice is about. Mindful Mama retracted. Let's see. Barely awesome. Came in late, but I had a massive coffee headache and focused on meditating on pain for the first time. It was really insightful. Tell me, Barely, what did you find when you focused on the pain? Mindful Mama is saying, I'm practicing your teachings about the distortion practice method. I am more and more aware about my strong distortions, but not yet the small ones. Do you see a shift in this and that you are? What do you mean by the last part in there, that I am? Also, what kind of shift do you mean? There is the bigger, larger things are much easier to becoming more sensitive. Yes, it's a practice. I mean, first of all, you need to understand what distortion is, and before you feel it, it just doesn't really make any sense. Like when I say we're so ingrained, we're born and raised that okay, if the outside world doesn't match what we want it to be, then we're not allowed to be happy. So that's just this general feeling of, oh, I'm not happy. It's also distortion. But we can't just take that away. So what we do is we look at big things. Oh, I don't like that person. I don't like this event. I don't like when this happened. Or I like when this happened and I want this to happen. There's distortions. Those are big things. But then you have smaller things. Like I said, we have something above your head. And the time, I'm not sure if I've said it here, but the time I realized this was after I came back to my relative's house in Sri Lanka. And I had been to a meditation retreat in Malaysia, I think. Or maybe it was, yeah, I think it was in Malaysia. And I came back and I walked out on the terrace and I went, ooh, what the heck was that? And I walked back again and I could feel myself doing that. I was like, is there some evil spirit here? Am I reacting towards something supernatural? And then I realized that there was an urn standing outside the door when I went out to the terrace. And in that urn, when I was at my relative's the last time, which might have been half a year ago, before this, there was a wasp hive in that urn. So I had a subconscious connection to the urn, dangerous, distorting towards it. And then it really became clear that it's not just the big things, it's the small things also. So you just start by the big because they're more obvious, and then you move on to the smaller ones, and it just becomes easier. And the whole idea is that when you realize that you have this distortion, this tension or pressure, you can actually stop doing it because you're the ones who's doing this. It's not a conscious process, but it is coming from you. It's not someone else doing it to you. See, there's some other, let's see, become more, okay, can't type so fast, nice, Mats. I think that ever since I started meditating more seriously again, I keep having daily epiphanies about being present. Yes, it really is. When you do it more and more, I say the meditation, I hope it's not too distracting with, I'm assuming my voice is cutting out where those stripes come up. When you're doing more meditation, I call it like if you're going to cut down a tree and you have an axe that's really dull, you're going to be standing there banging the tree, not much is going to happen. So you need to make your tree sharp, not the tree sharp. You need to make the axe sharp so you can cut down the tree. It's a bit the same with meditation. You need to focus and practice moving your focus around or your awareness around so that you can actually observe all these things happening inside of you. And then you start noticing these reactions. So my belief is that you don't need anyone at all to teach you anything, really. You just need to learn how to observe, and then all things will kind of become apparent after a while. It will take some time because it takes time to figure these things out. Like I said, I've done this full time, it feels like, since 2009 when I was ordained, and I spent my entire days just observing this, and it's still very difficult to do it. So it's not like you can't have help from other people, but ultimately you're the one who has to do this. Even if you listen to everything I say and you believe and accept everything I say, it doesn't matter. You need to observe it yourself before that. It's just theories and philosophies. Mats I'm going to take Mats' continuation. I was watching Stargate last night. Nice series, by the way. Which one of them? Atlantis or the early ones? And started feeling lonely and sad because I missed my ex. But then something just clicked, and I realized just enjoying the moment was way more preferable. I really saw what you meant by distortion in that moment. The distortion was the problem, not the... Exactly. Nice. Oh, that makes me... yeah. With MacGyver. It really is. I'm happy. It makes me really happy to hear Mats, because that's the thing. We have this idea that the X is the one who's going to fix the feeling, but the feeling is not the problem. Is not the X. The problem is my distortion towards not having the X. So it's this really weird thing when you start untangling all of this, that it kind of... Your whole life is based on the idea that you need to do this, you need to have that, you have to behave this way, you have to say these things, you have to adhere to social beliefs and identities that you've built up. And then when you start taking that apart, that can be a bit confusing, but also very liberating, that you don't need to do a specific thing to be happy. Barely awesome. Let's see what he wrote. I felt detached from the pain. It felt more like sensation, or like the crawling of caterpillars on the skin, and less like, oh my gosh, this hurts. Yes, I always say this, and I actually have a video series about managing chronic pain, since I've lived with chronic pain for a large part of my life. Pain has two parts. There's the actual physical pain, and then there's the distortion towards the pain. What mindfulness will do, and why they recommend mindfulness to people with chronic pain, is that it will make you separate these two. So when you feel the pain is just pain. I mean, you can't really get away from the pain permanently. You can through meditation. So I went to acupuncture, was it this Monday or Tuesday or something? And I realized that I'd do something different from what I used to do. When I lie down and she takes the nail and she's about to pinch it in my back, I could focus on my hand and just focus on my hand really hard, and I wouldn't feel when she stung me, because I'm so focused on my hand. I have all my awareness here that this barely registers. But then I'm not experiencing the pain. But if I would instead just put my awareness here and feel the, oh, she's going to sting, because I don't like needles. I hate syringes and being stung. If I would start looking at that and go, oh, it's going to be this, and then there's the pain, like, oh, she stung me. Oh, she stung me. If I would do that, then I'm not separating the pain, because the actual sticking the nail in my back, that's not very painful. But then there's the resistance, the distortion, the pressure, or the tension that I'm creating towards the thing happening. And we do this before it even happens, and we do it after it happens. So when you separate them, you can actually let go of the distortion you're doing, and then you'll just have the pain left, which is why it's so good with meditation and mindfulness for people who are suffering from chronic pain, because they can use that to separate the pain and the resistance they have towards the pain. So that is exactly what you're supposed to observe when you do that. Barely awesome. It's fun. I'm really happy to hear you guys are making progress, because it's ultimately what we're doing here. We're just sitting here sharpening our axes, right? If you don't go out and live, then, I mean, what's the point of having a sharp axe? That was actually one of the reasons I disrobed, was that because in the end of my time as a monk, I just felt I didn't have much stuff coming up. I would be really clean and not have any big things come up, and I was just happy most of the time. I just walked around and I enjoyed life, but I could also very clearly see that I was not done with the process of taking away all these distortions and getting a partner, moving together with someone, and then eventually moving together, and then eventually going through giving birth to 2 children and all the things that come with that, and having a burnout. That there's lots of stuff to practice with when you live daily life, and that's the whole reason why we do this, to be able to enjoy our daily lives more. Nice. Any more questions, or should we wait until Monday next time? I have to figure this out, why it's doing that, the whole flinching thing. And I think I just became unfocused. What do I think about the law of attraction stuff? I think it's a way to get more stuff, but it completely misses the point that I'm trying to do here, meaning that it's just another way of getting stuff. It is interesting that when you stop having distortion towards things and stop resisting things, things tend to go the way you want them to go. So I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that the way it's being taught, for me, completely misses the point. It reminds me of a saying that one meditation teacher said, which was that doing stuff like that, like doing meditation for law of attraction and for seeing things that aren't here or contacting other worlds and stuff, that's like eating blueberries to get a blue tongue. I mean, it's really cool when you stick out your tongue and go, and you see it's a blue tongue. But that's not why you eat blueberries. You eat blueberries because they're nutritious and they taste delicious. And all you're doing is just looking at how blue your tongue is. That's kind of my interpretation of law of attraction, and the amount of focus on it. I think it can be useful to have as another way of making things work for you, but I think that it fosters the idea that you need to get the world to be a certain way for you to be happy. The exception to that, I should say, is someone called Abraham Hicks, who I used to listen to before a lot, and they focus more on the idea that you should feel the way you would feel when you got what you wanted. In other words, feel good, which is what I'm teaching. But they still have that idea that you should get stuff, kind of, that was important. And I'm not saying it isn't, because if you're ill, like seriously ill, then everything you want to do is get well, obviously. And then I would, if I would get some kind of serious disease, then yes, I would do everything I could to get well. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it puts a lot of emphasis on the outside world and things having to be a certain way. So, I mean, instead of doing that, then you could go to school or start a company to earn more money. It's a very similar thing, in my opinion. And Barely As Awesome is asking, monasticism sounds like university and post-monasticism sounds like grad school. Yeah, in a way it is. It's grad school is like graduation. That's after university, right? Like, because it is basically monasticisms you really practice to get your mind sharp, but then a lot of people just stay in practice and never really go out and use what they've learned, kind of, is my opinion. So that's one of the reasons I disrobed. I used to say that the best way to practice, the absolutely best meditation or practice regimen, schedule that you could have would be 1 month. You go to Asia and you stay at these really intensive practice centers and you meditate 15 hours per day, like gruesome, hardcore, really intense meditation. And then 1 month you go to Plum Village and you have what they have in the summers, where they come hundreds upon hundreds of people and they practice mindfulness and sharing. You sit and share your feelings and you talk about what's happening. And it's much more interactive for lay people. And then you have 1 month where you have a family, you have a wife, you have a kid. You have kids and your wife is cheating on you. You hate your job and you just live in an awful place with mold and just a house that's falling apart. Absolutely miserable life. And then you go back to sitting 1 month intensely, and then 1 month Plum Village, and then 1 month back to the family life. That's obviously not something that would be practically doable. But if you wanted to maximize your practice, that would be the best practice regimen that you could have. And I kind of got something similar to that, because I went to Asia and I sat a lot for the better part of the year. That would be the largest part of the year, probably 8 or 9 months. And then I would usually spend 2 months in Plum Village in the summers, sometimes 3. And then I'd have a month with my parents in Sweden, and then I'd go back to Asia. So that would be, for me, that worked really well. And I kind of jokingly said that if you had that, then that would be even better. But that's something that's not really practically possible. And you can't just leave your kids and go away for 2 months. Oh my God, that would be nice. Imagine just going away for 2 months and meditating like I did before. When things got too much, I just said, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go and meditate for 3 months and then we'll come back again. That was what it was like when I was a monk. Now, sometimes when you have kids and there's just no break, then it would be nice with a break. But I'd also miss them, of course. So, yeah. cool. Nice sitting and nice talk, and nice that there's some people here this time compared to last time. There was not a single person here. I felt a bit lonely. Thank you guys. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, nice to see you guys again. I'll see everyone on Monday, and then we have a guided meditation. Also check out Saturday. I'll be releasing a new video about sitting in the lotus position that I find very funny. Like I said, I had a lot of fun making that video, especially the trailer. I'm so curious what people are going to think about that. Maybe some people will be triggered by it and not like it, but that's fine. Thank you. You too, Mindful Mama. You too, Mats. Thank you, guys. I'll see you on Monday. Sounds so corny to say thank you, guys. What should I say instead? Thank you, peeps, people. Yeah, I'll see you Monday.